things that make a woman feel comfortable are things where she's gaining power. Things that make women attracted, she's actually losing power.
Talk about the myth of the dad bod. A lot of the guys that, I end up coming to me and they say, well, my wife says that she's okay with me having a dad bod, but I just don't feel comfortable. And, at the end of the day, we know that that's not the case, that it's not
Yeah.
something that's, arousing, that it's, there's a real, I mean, you live in Vegas. How many, overweight men male reviews are there? No, everyone's at Thunder from Down Under, right?
And those men have unbelievable levels of women trying to have sex with them every single night. Like I've hung out with those guys. So one of my closest friends is dating one of the lead dancers from Thunder from Down Under, and then another one of my friends, she's she's actually not a professor, she's a licensed therapist, and she's dating like one of the main guys in Thunder from Down Under. And I hear the stories, and it's just like having hundreds of women just throwing themselves at these men who have these physiques. That's one data point to indicate that the dad bod thing is a myth. Here's the other thing. Here's kind of the main misunderstanding and why women say this nonsense when they know it to not be true. This is what women find attractive. Okay, like sexually
Mm-hmm.
arousing. And I like to say like vagina gets wet. This is what women
Right.
find attractive. And then this is what will make women feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing their husband with the kids, taking care of the kids, being a good husband, this is something that makes her feel comfortable. She's aligned with his resources. She feels very secure. These things are what she's going to describe about her perfect man. This is the 6'3" bartender that she met in college who had sex with her 3 or 4 times and never called her back. He's just had a bad, he just had a very, he was like a scoundrel, just had a very doesn't give a shit attitude, maybe some tattoo sleeves, 6-pack abs, is
Mm-hmm.
tall, just super exciting, wild, crazy sex. These things, women generally don't describe them as things they're attracted to, but these are the things they are attracted to. These are the things women find comforting. So one of the things that happens is, as a man, when a woman gets pregnant, the man she's pair bonded with, he's going to increase in prolactin levels, and you're going to see this pasty dad bod physique. And when you see the Seth Rogen, or if you see Elon Musk, when they have a dad bod, women say that's attractive because those men have high levels of resources and they're famous. They're
Right.
already high level. So the idea that these high level resource famous men have committed to these women and then therefore have gotten fat along with these women, also the likelihood of him cheating because he's fat decreases
Mm-hmm.
because he's less physically attractive.
There's
That
less
makes her feel
options.
more, has fewer options.
Yeah.
That means that she feels more comfortable. Remember, things that make a woman feel comfortable are things where she's gaining power. Things that make women attracted, she's actually losing power. Whenever a woman is outrageously attracted to a man, she's actually not gaining power, he's gaining power. So when you ask women what are they attracted to, they're going to describe things where they gain power. He has a dad bod. He's loyal, and he's he's a great communicator, and he's open about his feelings, and he doesn't look at other women. And these are the things that they're going to describe. Now, what they're describing is not things that cause arousal. They're describing things that garner power for them in a relationship.
Yeah, and
Women rarely say,
cause comfort. Yeah,
correct, that build comfort.
it's
Exactly.
the beta
Women
butts. Yeah.
Yes, correct. Women are rarely going to say, "I just want a really hot guy at a foam cannon party in Cancun with a huge cock to just bend me over and fuck me in the bushes." They'll never say that. But then you go to Cancun for Paradise Challenge, and you're literally seeing the girl who said she wanted the committed dad bod guy getting fucked by Chad Thundercock behind the bush. Like, you can see, like, one of the reasons why I love my clients to go to Paradise Challenge is because they can see Chad fucking the girl who literally said the thing where she's describing her perfect man. And then you see the Sheryl Sandberg quote where she says, date all of them, the bad boys, the wild
Mm-hmm.
ones when you're younger. And then later, when you're older, learn to enjoy the men who take out the trash for you. Right. But you're not, of course. So basically, fuck all the alpha males when you're younger. And then when you're older, settle for the beta males that will just like be a good partner and then, let you have whatever you want in the relationship. And so this is a huge disconnect. There's two main disconnects. One is women describe their perfect man by using comfort terms instead of attraction terms. That's first thing. And the second main disconnect, and this is a little bit off topic, but women, the things that give them value in their life, like being like a good philanthropist, having multiple master's degrees, and being a good entrepreneur, and a good, and being well traveled, are not the same things that make them sexually attractive to men.
Mhm.
And that women get those two things confused, because for men, they are the same thing. If a man makes a lot of money, it has a really great physique, is a really good public speaker, and has terrific alignments, he can not only be successful generally, he's also attractive to women because of those things. Whereas women, Madame Curie discovering radiation did not make her husband's penis harder for her. Those are two different things.
Right.
Her personal self-worth and her sexual market value are separate, whereas for men, they are the same. And so that's the second thing where women often get this wrong. Hey, I got my second master's degree. Where's my man? Where's
Right.
the man I was promised at the end of this journey? And then the man is not there because he's dating your 23-year-old niece who
Right.
didn't
Well,
get a
and I
master's
think
degree.
the takeaway for a lot of my male clients is that, you've been lied to by society.
Yes.
Your wife isn't necessarily always going to be honest with you. She's going to be nice. She doesn't want to hurt your
Yes.
feelings and tell you that, like, hey honey, like I'm not into this dad bod. It's going to be something that's made to be acceptable.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's just so many reasons, even biologically, that it's
Yes.
not.
So
I mean, even
so
just the hip to waist
yeah.
ratio alone
Yeah,
is important.
a lot of women are pushed back against the concept of evolutionary psychology because it exposes a lot of these truths that don't always put men or women in the best light.
Hmm.
Men consistently looking for younger partners and women consistently looking to trade up for higher status partners. It doesn't make them look really good, although we see it over and over again
Hmm.
when we look in these studies. So now here's the thing that happens. A woman is, if you look at specific, one of the things I'll look at is when they survey women on short-term partners versus long-term partners. When they look at short-term partners, the dad bod is not acceptable in any way whatsoever. They're always looking for the male stripper physique, the Brad Pitt in Fight
Fight
Club. They're
Club.
always looking for
Yeah.
that physique when they're looking for a short-term sexual partner. As a man, you should very much clue into that. When they're looking at the dad bod, they're looking at the dad bod for a long-term sexual partner. And a lot of times, and this is, by the way, most women, the whole dual mating strategy, Rollo and I disagree on this. I think the dual mating strategy versus the mate switching strategy, I think it's 85% mate switching strategy and 15% dual mating strategy, meaning that 85% of women generally are going to be in a relationship. The actual number is probably closer to 83% because that's what the survey said. 83% of the time, if a woman cheats on her man, that's because she's looking for a new partner to be with and she doesn't want to stay with her man anymore.
Right.
About 17% of the time, a woman will be with a man who is of lower status and then cheat on that man with a higher status man and still go back to the original man. So the first one is the mate switching strategy, and the other one is called the dual mating strategy. And so those, I think it's a blend. In reality, women are a blend of the two. But just most women, it's just not really smart from an evolutionary standpoint, from my perspective, for women to consistently be trading up to higher and higher status men when we're talking about 9 months of gestation and an 18-year pregnancy and then raising the child. 9 months of pregnancy and then 18 years raising the child. To me, it doesn't make sense for them to constantly be like switching up to taller and taller bartenders to fuck in order to have a baby. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So, and then falling in love with the scoundrel, VIP host who's been with 500 women, that doesn't make sense from an evolutionary standpoint. So I don't think that's essentially what's going on here. Does it happen sometimes? Do women have no intention of cheating and then come to Vegas and get drunk and see a super hot guy and just hook up with him? Yes, it definitely happens. Definitely happens. Even without their intent. But that is one of the things. That's why I consider human beings to be hairless murder apes.
Murder apes. Yeah.
Yeah, we are subject to our evolutionary whims more, not all the time, but we're subject to our evolutionary whims more than we'd like to admit, and more than we're comfortable to admit. And that goes back to what I said before. When I have tons of female friends, and when I ask them, and like, who did you have sex with? I don't ask them who they're attracted to, because I get all kinds of weird answers about, like I said, about dad bods and loyalty and all. Okay, no, that's fine. You can keep that for someone else. Who did you actually have sex with, though? And then we go look at who they have sex with. That tells a more clear story of who they're actually attracted to, and it tends to be,
Brock the bartender, Chad.
Brock the bartender.
Yeah.
Chad Thundercock and Brock the bartender tend to be who they have sex with more on a short-term and sometimes on a long-term basis. And then later on, once, their options are not quite as great, once they're past, when they get to an age where they're having to compete with younger women and not doing as well, they tend to be more pliable to Alex the accountant, who has a bit of a dad bod and maybe doesn't have as many alpha qualities. Right. And so when you pay attention to those things externally, And you don't do so while you can't observe your relationship while you're in your relationship. That's why asking your wife isn't really the right answer. The correct answer is to observe studies in evolutionary psychology and then just look at how the behavior of men and women in general, you can kind of see these patterns pop up. Look, women, when women look for short-term partners, they tend to be more good looking than their long-term partners. When men look for short-term partners, they will fuck anything at the bar. If they get drunk and it's 2 a.m., it's 18 to 80, blind, cripple, or crazy. Men have their standards drop to embarrassing levels when
Yeah.
when it gets to the end of the night. So that's the difference between the mating strategies of men and women.